hand over to Councillor Kerr because it's her last meeting and she wants to say goodbye to everybody. Cam.
Thank you, Chair. I just thought I'd just join. I didn't think I was going to say goodbye, but thank you for the for allowing me to speak. I just wanted to really say thank you to everybody on this forum. We've come a long way together. We've had a lot of learning to do together, and I think with Johnny's support, and I know he's online, and all the team have been really supportive, and we've just worked, I think, in a really different way and just come together, and I think we've made some really positive inroads on how this forum works. So I just wanted to just say this is my last meeting on the school forum. I'm not standing again, but just wanted to extend my thanks to you all because it's been really important and valuable to have you all here and actually supporting us, and that was reflected in your work and your opinions, and absolutely we recognise the difficulties that in terms of finance and all the rest of it that you are going through in your different organisations, and just wanted to say a big thank you really. So and that's it really. I know there's only a few things on the ticket item today, but and just also thanks to you, Phil, for chairing and keeping us all in order. It's not always easy, I know.
Thank you.
But thank you.
Yeah, that's great, Cam, and thank you for everything that you've done for education in Warwickshire during your tenure as a portfolio holder. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And actually, that's bang on cue because the taxi's just arrived. So off I go with the bucket and spade.
Okay, and, have a great journey, safe flight, and
thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Right, okay, we'll start off with apologies then. So I've got Michael Cowland, Panima Kandula, Nikki Burton, who's had to send her apologies at the last minute. She's got an issue to deal with. Jane Burrows, Blake Francis, Rose Gunn, and Claire Jaffs Watts. Do we accept those apologies? Right.
And Mark Bonham as well, please.
Okay, thank you. Item 2 is voting and actions from the last meeting. They've all been circulated. Does anybody have any issues they want to raise about those? Right, we've got 2 matters for decision then. The first one is the DSG 2025-26 budget. I'll hand over to Brian, please. Thank you.
Just give me a wave or whatever if you can see the report on screen. Yeah,
we can see it. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Right, so this is the the usual summary for the schools forum on the current approved budgets for the 3 blocks, the three main blocks, as well as your approval of the individual lines for the central schools block. Table 1. I'll just get my mouse working. Table. Just sorry, I've got lots of noise going in my ear. Is someone got their? Can people turn their mics off? Thank you.
I'll turn mine off. If you're not speaking, can you turn your mics off, please?
Yeah. There's the table here shows the current level of the DSG and compares it with last year. Before we have any recoupment for the schools ISBs, you can see the various amounts that they've changed, both in millions and also in percentages. Go on to the schools block. This is just reiterates what the consultation with yourselves in January, and also what's been approved by members and at the cabinet and council. So nothing has changed from when we consulted with you in January to what went to council and what was approved. Okay. My mouse is still not. Yes, it is working now. The high needs block. You'll have seen, if you've read the papers for the later report on the DSG monitoring, we're currently forecasting a 48 million overspend, based on the growth in year and cost increases set by, offset by initiatives to reduce the spending. For example, the SRP funding. The budget is being set with an expected overspend of 50 odd million. We're hopeful that the reforms and the funding to be announced in the summer will help to reduce this in a downwards trajectory. The income that you approved, or the transfer that you approved from the schools block to the high needs block, has been directly allocated to this to the special resource provision budget, and spending has increased by over 1.2 million in that area. Okay, and then going down to the early years block, this has seen, I mean, 90, as you know, 95% of this is passported to providers based on the formula. Nothing was changed from the consultation that we made with the early years working group and also with yourselves before that was approved by council. It's obviously a significant rise in the funding because of all the new provisions for the extensions to the provisions for under 2s and 3 and 4s. So going on to the crux of the decision that needs to be made today. This is to do with the central schools block. It's just to remind you that this is a tiny amount of the actual DSG. It's less than 1%. This funding is mostly used to fulfil many of our statutory duties and ensures that the council are adequately funded to exercise core responsibilities as well as historic commitments. That's historic commitments that the schools forum have approved in the past. Funding is, as I said, the funding is split into 2 areas: the historic commitments and also ongoing amounts. The historic commitments is based on the actual values we will actually pay, and the ongoing funding is based on a £1 per pupil rate. Now, since 2019, the amount per pupil has been reduced downwards, but our numbers of pupils have just kept the amount that we might lose because the numbers have slightly increased. Our loss of the money is not it's not been as great, but for this year the government have actually increased the funding per pupil. So at the end of the day, we've got an extra £500,000 of funding coming in for this for this block. We do have, for the historic, there is a process that the government were reducing the historic elements by 20% every year, and we have to apply for a appeal against that decision. We did appeal, and it says in the report that we appealed, and that we were hopeful of the appeal standing. At 12 today, we got notification of it, and it has been approved. So all the figures that are in here, or as they stand, is correct, because we took that into account when we were doing the report. Now, with this extra funding, as well as trying to recover from previous savings we've made, and where we haven't given certain services any inflation increase for a few years, we've tried to allocate some of that money to the various services. So there's £500,000. So if you look at paragraph 5.3 onwards, that lists the areas where we've increased the funding to these particular areas, or reinstated the funding. We have got contingency still of 170,000. That was partly to do with in case the appeal didn't didn't materialise, and as well as any increase in the copyright licence, which is the one area which we don't know, and the government set that for us. And we're asking to use some of the extra money we've got. Obviously, if with the review of high needs funding and other areas of government spending, this may be reversed next year, for example. So we'd be looking at these areas that we're saying to increase now to give a bit of headroom to, that they would probably be the top of the list to be reviewed next year if that funding was reduced downwards. The decisions would have to come back to yourself anyway, because every year we have to decide this. So that's just to reconfirm that those decisions would come back to you if we needed to. The individual lines are all here. So you've got the historic pension contributions, which is something that the school forum agreed in 2010-ish, and was associated with the last major reorganisation of schools in Warwickshire in the late 1990s. There's also the prudential borrowing that we did to rebuild North Leamington School, which in effect was by spending the money on and borrowing the money to build one building, we actually saved in the main formula, and we do save in the national funding formula, funding for having 3 buildings. I think there was at least 3 buildings at the time. So those two are the historic ones. We've got the copyright licenses, which is historic, but it is also ongoing in the sense that the government set that every year, and just tell us how much we have to pay. Then there are the various services, and most of them are fixed cost, but the admissions one is the one which has increased, and it does increase because it's staffing, as well as legal fees in there. That is about it, unless if I just quickly look at my notes and ask you if there's any questions on this before you approve the lines of the central block, central schools block.
Okay, do we have any questions or comments on that, please? Okay, so we've got 2 recommendations there. I'm going to take them together. So we note the DSG budget and approve the proposed central services block. Is everybody agreed with that? Yeah, okay. Thank you. I think that's a majority. Thank you very much indeed. I'd like to put your hands down. Okay, so item 4 then, we move on to the schools forum election process and timetable. Liz?
Thank you, Chair. I think Dalby is going to share the report on screen for me. Second, Liz. Just while Dalby is bringing that report up, the purpose of the report is to seek approval from Schools Forum for all the recommendations relating to the 2025 election process. So the report outlines the proposed membership, the election timetable, and the key changes to the Schools Forum terms of reference. It's also proposed that the Schools Forum clerking team manages the election of academy representatives on their behalf, as it has previously. In terms of the process, the timetable would be nomination forms circulated to all maintained and academy schools 28th of March, with the 16th of May being the deadline for submissions. The election process, election forms would be distributed to all maintained schools and mainstream maintained schools and academies 23rd of May, with a deadline for voting on the 30th of May. And then finalisation of the new membership would be on the 13th of June and would come back to the June Schools Forum meeting, with the first item at that meeting being the election of the chair and the vice chair. In terms of changes to the Schools Forum terms of reference, sorry, Dalby, I'm going backwards, I think.
Is this on the screen? Can you see it? Can you see it on the screen now? Or
yes, we can see the report.
okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Sorry. So the terms of reference, we're looking to update those to reflect the proposed adjustments to the membership. So sections 3 and 4 show those changes, and the new membership numbers are based on the proportion of pupils in each sector. Members would be elected for a 3-year term, and we've updated the terms of reference as well, just to clarify that voting members need to attend the meeting in person or have a substitute representative who can vote on their behalf at the meeting. So that means that we wouldn't in future take votes by email, which we haven't done anyway, but it's just to clarify that point. There's some minor changes to the terms of reference just to reflect changes in job titles within the local authority, and the plan would be for the new terms of reference to come into effect from the date of the June Schools Forum meeting, once those posts have been filled. For non-school members, we have had 1 or 2 difficulties filling some of those positions. So the proposal is that the local authority will liaise directly with those sectors and try and secure membership for those. They have been somewhat difficult to fill in the past. That's probably a summary of the report, so happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. So yeah, just to sum up, key things to look at here are the dates, the timetable, and the changes in proportions reflecting what's happened between the different sectors since this time we had the election, and those minor changes to terms of reference. Okay, Rebecca.
Oh, sorry, Rebecca, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes,
Yes.
got you. Thank you.
Is it possible to change the date? It's just your end date for the closing deadline is during half term. So could we change the deadline to the 6th of June or move everything back a week so that the closing date's the 9th of May for the opening date to be the do it one way or the other or something. I know you're not going to get many people responding because we're rubbish, but realistically they're only going to be responding for a week, not 2 weeks, because we're closed.
Probably going to look at Dalby actually. So if we were to move that voting deadline from the 30th of May, Dalby, if we stick with the 13th of June for the finalisation of the membership, will that give us enough time to collate everything?
Which date would you say to?
So I think we need to push the 30th of May to the week after half term.
Let's see. 30th of May. Should be all right because we're using a Google form. We can.
So it'll collate the results automatically. So that will help.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at the calendar. If we went to this, was it the 6th of May you were suggesting, Rebecca?
Yeah.
6th of June. 6th of June.
That should be all right. I think we will have some time for. Yeah, if the meeting is 19th or 26th, it should be all right.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll look to do that then.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks for your question, Rebecca. Any other comments or questions? Okay, we've got 5 recommendations there. Again, I'm going to take them en masse. Are there any objections to that? We're happy to approve those 5. Okay, thank you very much for that. Right. Item 5 is DSG monitoring report for this year. Brian?
Okay, you should have it on screen again.
Yeah.
A list report.
Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me a second. This is the final forecast for the year, for the financial year 24-25. It's based on the information we gathered at period 10, which is the end of February. Sorry, the end of January. Table 1, that's the usual format, which shows the original allocation of the DSG for the year, and after recoupment, how much the local authority is responsible for spending along with maintained schools. Going on to the forecast, table 2 shows, as has been previously reported, three of the blocks underspending slightly with minor underspends, but the larger overspend being in the high needs block is currently forecast to be 48 million. We do have a recovery plan based on what was the being a part of the DBV program, as well as our own Send Inclusion Change program. That is continuing. It will be continuing into the future years because we will want a recovery plan. And obviously we are awaiting the news from the government on the reforms of Send in whatever form that comes, whether that's more funding or different ways of doing things. It's all rumor at the moment about what might happen in the summer, but that is, they've told us spring, but it's probably going to be late spring, so it's probably more likely to be June, which I always seem to class as start of summer. I don't know, but anyway, it's before Midsummer's Day, hopefully. With the 48 million overspend this year and the small underspends, it does mean that at the end of the year we'll have a negative reserve of almost 81 million pounds. This is held in a specific reserve, and we use a statutory override, which allows us to have this and to balance our books basically. That statutory override is available until next year, and that will be part of the work that the news that the DfE and central government will be giving us in late spring, early summer. It is, I've highlighted that the most significant risk to the council's financial resilience. This is the one of the key areas, and you know it's on all our risks. It's high on all the agendas. It's high on any information that comes from central government or any request for information from central government on this issue. We do follow up and we do return. So it's, you know, they are gathering the information. We just have to see what happens. But like I said before, it's just rumour at the moment. Go down to paragraph 4.2 and onward 4.3. This is just describing the main areas of the Send high needs block overspend. Mainstream top-ups to mainstream schools for EHCPs is 9 million overspent. Special schools is 4 million overspent, and independent special schools is almost 12 million. So there are some big chunks. If you look at the paper earlier where we've set next year's budget 25-26, we have tried to take account of and anticipate where we're going with the trends, but also take account of the mitigations that we're inputting, for example the SRPs. That's really the crux of the report. It's pretty standard with the usual elements in there. So, and at the end in Appendix A, that lists the actual detail of all the blocks. So are there any questions?
Questions or comments?
I don't know if Ross wants to. Well, no, I don't. It's unfair on Ross, but
I'm not sure there's too much to add to previous
Yeah,
meetings, to be honest,
yeah.
Brian. So
yeah, that's fine, Ross.
yeah.
I just didn't want to hear my own voice.
yeah, that's fair enough.
Well, you're still in the job, Ross, so it must be going reasonably well.
I think what I was in terms of just adding a context, we've recently done a number of head teacher briefings on our SEND strategy, and actually we've shared that information in terms of where we're overspent. And I hope what people are seeing is we're trying to invest in mainstream, which is in order to try and get the ISP spend down. So we're essentially spending in mainstream, and resource provision is where we want to move the resources to. We want the spending in our state special, we'll say, relatively stable, because that's the same number of places. We're increasing that slightly, but that's where we want the movement to. Essentially what we're seeing at the moment is a growth in spend both in mainstream and in ISP, and that's where we need to kind of turn that curve, and that's the aggregation of lots of decisions, lots of individual situations, but that's I think probably from where the overspend is now spread. I think if you looked at it in previous years, the overspend would have been primarily just in the ISP area. We have a high level of overspend overall, but that's now spread out between the two highest areas of ISP and mainstream. But that's what we're trying to, that's the strategy we're going on, and we haven't turned that corner yet.
Cheers, Ross.
So in terms of that, the cost of the individual placements in ISPs, Ross, I mean, there's been a significant increase year on year. Do you expect that year on year increase in terms of the cost of the places to continue to go on?
So we see that in two things. We've seen it in the unit cost itself go up, and that's accelerated. So yes, there will continue to be those pressures being passed on in terms of essentially they're passing on their staffing costs onto us. That's what they would say. So we do see those pressures. So that's why people be aware that the strategy, we've talked about it many times before, is to create that level of support around resource provision where we think we can meet with staffing costs in state schools, that we can still meet those needs. So that's what we're again trying to turn. And where I'm really pleased is that we've got I think we opened another 6 resource provisions in September. I think we expanded, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3, but we're ahead of where we were on places. And we think for next year and a further, well, I say it tentatively, up to 13 schools. I think we're pretty confident about 10 and possibly up to 13. So, and then are those resource provisions actually avoiding ISP placements? I would say that some of those definitely are. Some of those are just providing support to maintain the current placements in a mainstream setting with some additional support. So that's where we are. But in terms of those ISPs going up, I think whilst you've seen the number go up and the spend go up, if we looked at a proportion of the population with EHC plans, it's crept up, but only by a decimal point. So when I've been looking at the last few quarters, it's gone up 6.7% of the population, 6.8%, 6.9%. So again, we haven't turned a curve, but it's certainly slowed down.
Okay, thank you for that.
Can I just add, Phil, that we've heard about legislation possibly being put in place on the children's social care side for external residential placements, and it might be something that the government will continue into the education sector as well, and put that actual cap on what they can charge local authorities. But until we see what comes out, we just don't know.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, yes, I know you're not Alan Wheel, but I forgot what your real name is, but go on.
Thanks, Sarah Bromley. This
I
happens
should know
every
that by
time.
now. Thank you,
Sorry,
Sarah.
I don't know how to change it. So I'm looking at the appendix, page 9, looking at the early years block. I think this was the same last year as well, that there was the underspend with the IDS early years. And I think I remember saying there again, when there's so many of us struggling with special needs, it's difficult to see an underspend again. Is this again about vacancies?
yeah, it's about vacancies and recruitment. It's been particularly difficult. We are continuing, chasing that up, and we have, with the extra money that we've got in this year as well. So we are going out to recruit. It's just the timing of it and getting the people to recruit to. I think the service as a whole are looking at, will be looking at different ways of recruiting, but that's all I can really say. It's just an ongoing issue.
Can I also ask about the additional DSG early years grant expected for numbers growth? 2.063 million. What is that an expected grant to increase numbers, or what?
Where's that? Sorry.
So it's on it's page 9 again in the appendix. So it's kind of 2/3 of the way down. Additional DSG EY grant expected for numbers growth.
That is to do. I'll have to get back to you on that one. It's completely
Okay.
It's completely gone. No, I know what this is. Sorry, yes, it's the way I'm accounting for it. Sorry. We have a set DSG grant that we're told about, but actually our numbers at the moment are greater than when we put it through our forecasting machine. It's actually greater than the money we're going to give out to providers is greater than they're saying they're going to give us. But we expect when they do the final census that they will pay us more DSG grant. So it's just about the pure number. It's just the provisions. It's just on the provision side.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. It's not extra money, I'm afraid.
Thank you.
You didn't think it was, did you? All right, Sarah, is that it?
Very rarely.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions, comments? Right, so we're happy to note those items. Thank you.
Yes.
Right, next is forward plan. You've had that in front of you. We do have a decision to make here about which date in June we're going to have this meeting on, 19th or 26th. I think there was a feeling that one of the dates, whether it's busy for schools or not, so we're entirely in your hands as to which one you want to do. Anybody like to propose something? Yeah, Andy Mason.
Just
for joining in.
Yeah, no, just from a secondary point of view, probably more towards the back end of our exam season at 26th of June than 19th.
Okay.
So, but either's fine.
All right. Everybody happy with the 26th? Anybody against that? Jill.
I was agreeing. My hand was up to say yes. That
Brilliant.
sounds like a plan.
Right. Thank you very much. Right. We're going with the 26th then, Dalby.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 7 is Chair's business. The only thing I've got is, since we're coming to the end of a cycle and we're going to go out for election, I'd like to thank everybody for your attendance and contributions over the last cycle. I hope as many of you will be standing for election again. If you're not, thanks very much, and it's been a great pleasure working with you. But I hope to see as many of you as possible the other side of the election on the 26th of June, if I get re-elected to the schools forum, of course. Right. Okay. Any more questions, comments? Andy, was that your hand up from before? Have you got another one?
Yeah, it's just a couple of nice things. One, just thanks to Cam. I think I caught the end of her not being with us going forward, which is a shame. And just to thank her from a number of schools. Secondly, to thank all of you, Brian, Ross, Johnny, and yourself, Phil, for the hard work you do under very difficult circumstances. I know the funding position that you're in is difficult. Just from a school's point of view, thank you as well for not doing the disapplication. On the face of it, it looks like significant percentage per pupil is coming in, but just from our school, when we actually do a like-for-like comparison on a flat roll increase, i.e. no increase in roll, it's coming out at about 0.7% increase, which is not a lot before we do pay awards. So the reality is, once all the grants, the separate schools grants, pay grants, pension grants got rolled in real terms, we are not looking at an increase. What's worse is overnight the NIC grants have been released, and most of the secondary schools, certainly that I've spoken to this morning, think we're only getting 70% NIC cost recovery. Put it into context, for us, it's about 50k reduction. So that's something we're taking up. I'm going to have to go, but I just wanted to say thank you. We actually have the MP here. I'm going to go and lobby her and bend her ear now, and we're going to see what we can do. So thank you very much.
Well done, Andy. That's what they get paid for, and good luck with it.
All right, thank you.
Siobhan, you're going to ask me the question about Michael Cowland's question, aren't you?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, I did. You might not have been in right at the beginning.
Sorry,
when I did
wasn't.
ask Brian. Brian is going to write to him with the response.
Fabulous. Thank
All
you.
Right.
Okay. I was just going to mention that about the grants that have just been issued by the notification by the DFE. I think it was yesterday, or might be the day before, but Andrew's done that. We have some of your pupil premiums are increasing as well, but not by as much as we thought, and obviously the grants and national insurance contributions pretty similar to the local authority funding that we got. It was only about 70% that we were funded by, so it seems to be that's where the government are making some savings at the moment. Okay.
Yeah, these are tough times, but we move forward. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and hope to see as many of you as possible in June. Thank you very much.
Thanks all.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.